Hello architects and welcome back to another RPG Architect tutorial. My name is Bert and today we're going to be going over portrait expressions. Now we're back here in our 2D/3D project, the one of old. I'm going to use that just because I have a lot of things already set up like dialog boxes and characters and whatnot just to show that off. So let's jump into our database real quick and we're going to go to portrait expressions under character. Let's resize this. Let's just add 3 for right now. And you see this preview window pop up. And you might be wondering, well, who's this guy? Well, if you look up in the top left, we got Bertimus, we got Gab, Gorlock, Miss Guppy, Megatron, Big Red, General So's Chicken, and Henry Dillman. As you know, I'm sure, we have that is the list of characters we created here. But you may have noticed, this is the portrait for Bertimus, so why is this guy showing up? Well, it's because if I click edit animation here, it's pulling the first frame from the portrait sheet here. This is our actual Bertimus portrait, but for the expressions, it is pulling from the first frame. So if you are going to be using portrait expressions for your characters, you will want to do individual sheets and you want to have them all set up the same way. Now, I went ahead and made one to use for this example. We will put it on Bertimus here. So let's go ahead and change his portrait to this port 1 of this guy right here. We have some different expressions of just blank face, slightly open mouth, slightly raised eyebrow, very much raised eyebrow, open mouth, some angry expressions, some sad stuff. I put it together in 5 minutes. Don't judge me. It's fine. So let's use this first frame for Bertimus, and then let's go over to portrait expressions. Now when we click on it, our sample character is Bertimus and we see this guy here. So as you can see, we have a spot where we do the name. We have, is it a model animation or sprite animation? We will be doing sprite animations in this tutorial. If you're using 3D models, I believe that would be baked into the model itself, because if you click on model animation, then you just have to type in the animation name or pull from a list here or whatever. So that's how you would do that, I believe, but I do not have 3D models. I do not know how to 3D model very good. So let's do sprite stuff. Now let's call this first one, let's just call it talking. Let's call one angry, and let's call one sad. So what we would do is, you can see in this sprite animation section, we can edit the animation, we can set up frame counts. So if I do 2 frames and then 100 milliseconds per frame, and then I hit the play button. Oh, and then also select cycle animation to cycle through it. Then now he is talking. So it's basically, it is just pulling frame 1 and 2, and it is cycling between the two of them to play that talking animation. And if you want it to be slower or faster, you can do like that, or very fast. Set it to 150. I don't know, whatever. You get it. So there's our talking animation. Same thing, if we want to set up our angry animation, we'll select that one. Let's go to edit animation. Let's select this frame. Select 2 frame count and turn cycle animation on. And then let's do 150. Do that. You can see a little pixel popping in there from my great artwork. So yeah, now we have an angry animation, and then let's just do the same thing with our sad one. Select cycle animation, edit the animation. Let's use these 2 frames. Do 2, and set this one to 200, I guess. So there's my little crying animation, whatever, it's fine. Again, don't judge me, it's whatever. So yeah, so that's how you set up these. Obviously, if you have more frames, here, let me go back to angry. If I was to set 4 frame animation, it's now cycling through the entire bottom row here. So yeah, when you set up your character portraits, if you're going to do this for multiple characters, you just would want to have them set up the same way. Meaning, if meaning you'd want like your static portrait in the top left, and then your angry ones, your angry 2 frames below here for every character. If you have a sad frame for every character, you know, doing the 3 and 4th or whatever slot you have. If you have 3 rows or 4 rows of portraits, that's fine. Whatever yours looks like, but you'd want to set it up the same way for each character. Does that make sense? And the reason being, let me put this back down to 2, is when we reference this, when we reference our portrait expressions, then it will know, the engine will know, no matter who's talking, you know, party member 2 is going to have their angry face, or party member 5 is going to have their sad face on, whatever it is, right? So you set up your animations in here, we hit OK, and then how do you call these animations? Well, let's set up a little dialog box with this ghost man here. He's actually going to be the one to have the stick face dialog box. So let's do a static message. This is a portrait animation. I don't know. It's late. I don't know what silly thing to say. We'll use our message box, message books template. So you can set up a portrait here. Let me show you one thing you can do. If you just have it set to portrait and you wanted an animation here, then you could just do the 4 frames. So say this character kind of like whipped their hair across 4 animations, or like their hair brushed out of their eyes across 4 frames, right? You would just set up 4 frames. I think it's 144 by 144. So you get all 4 frames in here. Let's pretend that the animation is them whipping their hair, but it is going to be him raising his eyebrow. Okay, let's just hit OK and just take a look at that. Drag this over. Let's go over and talk to him. Now, did you see it? It kind of cycled back around. So it ended off with the first frame, but it kind of plays through. It's going from left to right and then back to the left. Okay, so yeah, with this setup, it is going from left to right and then back over to here. That's what we were seeing. But if we wanted to do our portrait expressions, you would click Hero Portrait, and then down here you see Use Portrait Expression. So click that. We'll use party member in slot 0, so our Bertimus character, or you could use reference. You could just select them individually, or you could do by unique ID. We'll use reference. And then down here you can see portrait expression database. We'll just use talking and just check that out. So now we just get the couple of frames there. If we switched it over to, oops, wrong spot. If we switched it over to angry, we'll get a couple frames there. There's his angry expression. And then, of course, we could switch it to sad. And get that animation. Okay? So hopefully that makes sense. This is just will help you to get a little bit more life into your portraits. You can get real creative with this. If you have your frames set up to where the character kind of slides in, you could do that way. Like I said before, you can have their hair kind of whip around a little bit or sway in the breeze. You can just have them crying like this. Whatever you want to do. It's the only limit is your own imagination. So hopefully that helped. If it did, please be sure to leave a like, a comment, and subscribe. RPGA is in early access on Steam. We are well on our way to version 1.0, but we're just doing a bunch of fine tuning to make sure that 1.0 release is awesome and big and wapow and very cool. I don't know what that means. We're just trying to do our best to make sure that the 1.0 release is as awesome as it can be. So just fine tuning a lot of things, adding features, all that whatnot. I say it's Locke. He's doing all the heavy lifting there. I'm just making videos, y'all. This is all I do. So whenever I say we, just know I meant Locke. If you do want to support me and my endeavors in making these videos, please consider becoming a Patreon supporter over at patreon.com/bitbybitsound. It helps me out tremendously. It helps me to be able to continue making these videos and also making video game music in general. And if you support, you get a ton of music, such as the song you've been listening to through this video. Royalty free, you can use it in your games, your projects, however you want. So anyway, that's going to do it from me today. I hope you enjoyed. You have been amazing. I have been Bert, and I will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.